Paper 11. The Eternal Isle of Paradise. Paradise is the eternal center of the universe of universes and the abiding place of the Universal Father, the Eternal Son, the Infinite Spirit, and their divine coordinates and associates. This central isle is the most gigantic organized body of cosmic reality in all the Master Universe. Paradise is a material sphere as well as a spiritual abode. All of the intelligent creation of the Universal Father is domiciled on material abodes. Hence must the absolute controlling center also be material, literal. And again it should be reiterated that spirit things and spiritual beings are real. The material beauty of Paradise consists in the magnificence of its physical perfection. The grandeur of the Isle of God is exhibited in the superb intellectual accomplishments and mind development of its inhabitants. The glory of the central isle is shown forth in the infinite endowment of divine spirit personality, the light of life. But the depths of the spiritual beauty and the wonders of this magnificent ensemble are utterly beyond the comprehension of the finite mind of material creatures. The glory and spiritual splendor of the divine abode are impossible of mortal comprehension. And Paradise is from eternity. There are neither records nor traditions respecting the origin of this nuclear isle of light and life. 1. The Divine Residence. Paradise serves many purposes in the administration of the universal realms, but to creature beings it exists primarily as the dwelling place of deity. The personal presence of the Universal Father is resident at the very center of the upper surface of this well-nigh circular, but not spherical, abode of the deities. This paradise presence of the Universal Father is immediately surrounded by the personal presence of the Eternal Son, while they are both invested by the unspeakable glory of the Infinite Spirit. God dwells, has dwelt, and everlastingly will dwell in this same central and eternal abode. We have always found him there, and always will. The Universal Father is cosmically focalized, spiritually personalized, and geographically resident at this center of the universe of universes. We all know the direct course to pursue to find the Universal Father. You are not able to comprehend much about the divine residence because of its remoteness from you and the immensity of the intervening space. But those who are able to comprehend the meaning of these enormous distances know God's location and residence just as certainly and literally as you know the location of New York, London, Rome, or Singapore, cities definitely and geographically located on Urantia. If you were an intelligent navigator, equipped with ship, maps, and compass, you could readily find these cities. Likewise, if you had the time and means of passage, were spiritually qualified, and had the necessary guidance, you could be piloted through universe upon universe, and from circuit to circuit, ever journeying inward through the starry realms, until at last you would stand before the central shining of the spiritual glory of the Universal Father. Provided with all the necessities for the journey, it is just as possible to find the personal presence of God at the center of all things as to find distant cities on your own planet. That you have not visited these cities in no way disproves their reality or actual existence. That so few of the universe creatures have found God on Paradise in no way disproves either the reality of his existence or the actuality of his spiritual person at the center of all things. The Father is always to be found at this central location. Did he move, universal pandemonium would be precipitated, for there converge in him at this residential center the universal lines of gravity from the ends of creation. Whether we trace the personality circuit back through the universes, or follow the ascending personalities as they journey inward to the Father, whether we trace the lines of material gravity to nether paradise, or follow the insurging cycles of cosmic force, whether we trace the lines of spiritual gravity to the Eternal Son, or follow the inward processional of the Paradise Sons of God, whether we trace out the mind circuits, or follow the trillions upon trillions of celestial beings who spring from the Infinite Spirit, by any of these observations, or by all of them, we are led directly back to the Father's presence, to his central abode. Here is God personally, literally, and actually present. And from his infinite being there flow the flood streams of life, energy, and personality to all the universes. 2. Nature of the Eternal Isle. Since you are beginning to glimpse the enormousness of the material universe discernible from even your astronomical location, your space position in the starry realms, it should become evident to you that such a tremendous material universe must have an adequate and worthy capital, a headquarters commensurate with the dignity and infinitude of the universal ruler of all this vast and far-flung creation of material realms and living beings. In form, Paradise differs from the inhabited space bodies. It is not spherical. It is definitely ellipsoid, being 1/6 longer in the north-south diameter than in the east-west diameter. The central isle is essentially flat, and the distance from the upper surface to the nether surface is 1/10 that of the east-west diameter. These differences in dimensions, taken in connection with the stationary status and the greater out-pressure of force energy at the north end of the isle, make it possible to establish absolute direction in the master universe. The central isle is geographically divided into 3 domains of activity. 1. Upper Paradise. 2. Peripheral Paradise. 3. Nether Paradise. We speak of that surface of Paradise which is occupied with personality activities as the upper side, and the opposite surface as the nether side. The periphery of Paradise provides for activities that are not strictly personal or non-personal. The Trinity seems to dominate the personal or upper plane, the unqualified absolute, the nether or impersonal plane. We hardly conceive of the unqualified absolute as a person, but we do think of the functional space presence of this absolute as focalized on nether Paradise. The eternal isle is composed of a single form of materialization, stationary systems of reality. This literal substance of Paradise is a homogeneous organization of space potency not to be found elsewhere in all the wide universe of universes. It has received many names in different universes, and the Melchizedeks of Nebadon long since named it Absolutum. This Paradise source material is neither dead nor alive. It is the original non-spiritual expression of the first source and center. It is Paradise, and Paradise is without duplicate. It appears to us that the first source and center has concentrated all absolute potential for cosmic reality in Paradise as a part of his technique of self-liberation from infinity limitations, as a means of making possible sub-infinite, even time-space creation. But it does not follow that Paradise is time-space limited just because the universe of universes discloses these qualities. Paradise exists without time and has no location in space. Roughly, space seemingly originates just below nether Paradise, time just above upper Paradise. Time, as you understand it, is not a feature of Paradise existence, though the citizens of the Central Isle are fully conscious of non-time sequence of events. Motion is not inherent on Paradise. It is volitional. But the concept of distance, even absolute distance, has very much meaning, as it may be applied to relative locations on Paradise. Paradise is non-spatial. Hence its areas are absolute, and therefore serviceable in many ways beyond the concept of mortal mind. 3. Upper Paradise. On Upper Paradise there are 3 grand spheres of activity: the deity presence, the most holy sphere, and the holy area. The vast region immediately surrounding the presence of the deities is set aside as the most holy sphere, and is reserved for the functions of worship, trinitization, and high spiritual attainment. There are no material structures nor purely intellectual creations in this zone. They could not exist there. It is useless for me to undertake to portray to the human mind the divine nature and the beauteous grandeur of the most holy sphere of Paradise. This realm is wholly spiritual, and you are almost wholly material. A purely spiritual reality is, to a purely material being, apparently non-existent. While there are no physical materializations in the area of the most holy, there are abundant souvenirs of your material days in the Holy Land sectors, and still more in the reminiscent historic areas of peripheral Paradise. The holy area, the outlying or residential region, is divided into 7 concentric zones.